Welcome to the Supplement Engineer Podcast. My name is Robert Janetsky, back in the saddle again. Mr. Hall of Clan Justin from Supplement Snoop. How are you, sir?
Clan Justin, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. I think people would agree with that. I'm good, man. It must be Thursday. This has been kind of a how do you put it? A whirlwind, but it kind of always is. But
Yeah.
I guess it must be Thursday afternoon, so at least the weekend is fast approaching. Not that a fucking weekend matters, but
Yeah,
a
it's
little different.
weekends are more or less the same thing. The one bright spot of the weekends is that our favorite local distillery is open. So that's what I always know how to. That is the highlight of my weekend afternoon, my Saturday afternoon.
There you go. I think. Yeah, we don't really have much. Like some things have sort of opened up around here. We tried to go on a date last weekend and it didn't really work out because the hours of operation were preposterous and
Yeah.
it's just not time yet, I guess, to really go back. It's just the whole thing is just so absurd.
Yeah,
You know?
that's my feelings. If we're entering almost the fourth month of this now coming up,
Like,
and
does coronavirus only infect people during certain hours of the day?
apparently so. Yeah.
Like, so if as long as you're home by 6 o'clock at night, like you're fine. Like it only comes out at night, and it's only like, what the
Exactly.
fuck are we doing here with this? Like, okay, we're gonna be open for 4 hours, but so it's like if you have all your masks on and stuff like that, what does it matter how long you're open for?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't understand. And like things were just starting to quiet down and start to open up because Texas just entered like the 75% open capacity for restaurants and bars could go to 50% and all of that stuff. And so the
Mm.
distillery we've been going to has been normal for like 2 months now because it's 3 counties over. But Travis County and the fuckwad fucktard of a mayor that presides over Austin and Travis County just yesterday came out and said, oh, well, we're going to start requiring. So even though the governor told us we can't mandate that the public has to wear masks out and about, or else we can fine them $1,000 and put them in jail for 7 days. It says we're now going to put out a court order saying all businesses must require employees and their customers to wear face masks, and if not, the business can be fined $1,000. And then they list 6 different caveats where you don't have to wear a mask if you're in the business. So if you're the only person there, if you're only around your family at the business, if you can maintain 6 feet of distance, or if you suffer mental or physical stress from using a mask, you don't have to wear one. And I'm thinking, all right, well,
If you suffer physical, well, I tell you what,
I'm going to be chronically suffering from stress now every time I walk somewhere, so I don't have to wear a mask. It's fucking
I gotta
retarded.
be honest. The only time I really like feel stressed and like anger is when I have to put a fucking mask on for no reason. So actually, I think that's kind of legit. Like I could use that because that shit pisses me off.
Oh yeah, it infuriates us. We just don't go to any businesses that require it. I'm not stepping foot in a place. Not gonna do any of that shit. That's it's fucked up. The local mayor and judge have overstepped their bounds on so many occasions
Hmm.
through this whole fiasco. They are more hampering and crippling businesses than they are doing anything to protect them or help them.
Sure. So I was actually just on the phone not too long ago with Corey from Out and Fit.
Mm-hmm.
We know Corey over there.
Yeah.
He's got his hangover product that he's releasing
Yeah.
today. So I was trying to figure out a way for him to overnight it to me because I'm going to need it this weekend. So he was telling me that it was his birthday, and so New Jersey is
Oh yeah.
New Jersey is a special place.
Yeah.
So he said that they charged people. They went to the beach like for his birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and he said they charged everybody $9 to go onto the beach. They charged them $9 to go on the beach, and they said someone like threw a football around, and you're not allowed. You're not allowed to throw a football around.
Because it's going
Yeah,
to carry magical contagions that are going to
I have
infect
no
the whole
idea.
population.
So you have to, because he said, well, if you bring like alcoholic beverages, they fine you. So he was like, so you pay to go to the beach. He's like, but you can't do anything. You can't play any games. You can't throw a football around. You can't drink.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? You can't throw a football around? He's like, yeah, he said there were some people there and they threw it and they freaked out. You can't throw a football.
It's so weird. Like when things kind of first started to open up, there are 2 distilleries that we really like. One of them is Iron Wolf, which is the one that we go to every weekend now, and it's
Mm-hmm.
3 counties over. Nobody's wearing masks. Everybody's just enjoying themselves. It simulates normalcy. The other one is
Mm-hmm.
Treaty Oak Distilling, which does a really nice aged bourbon, does really good pre-mixed cocktails and all of that stuff. We went there, And we walked in, and they weren't requiring masks, but if you went like inside the restaurant, you had to have one. And then they only this thing is on a 28-acre piece of property. And so when you tried to walk out, they said, all right, your kids are not allowed to run around. You're not allowed to just go and fraternize. If you're on our property, you have to remain at the table the entire time unless you're in line getting a drink. And I said, I'm done. We stayed there for like an hour.
Yeah.
And then the second my 3-year-old tried to go and run and go play, just like chase a dog or something, they immediately came and said, sir, can you get your child and please just keep them at their table? We can't allow anybody to be walking around the premises. I said, that's fucking bullshit.
Oh,
we're done.
My God.
Open air.
Yeah.
Open air. I said, we're done with this. I'm not supporting you anymore. We're leaving. I will go 3 counties over. I will drive 30 minutes out of my way to not deal with the Travis County bullshit that's going on.
That's kind of a bummer too, because I'm sure they don't want to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, so they're kind of, that's horrible, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm waiting for the businesses to finally like grow some balls and just kick and start protesting the mayor, because the mayor's the one fucking everybody over and over, stepping his bounds, but everybody's kind of being too chicken shit to do anything.
I don't know, man. I lost the ability to describe anything a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we're in the fucking Twilight Zone. So.
Well, so what do you want to talk about today?
It's a bright, happy note to start the podcast on.
Well, I was going to actually ask you a question. So you had Jacob on your podcast, Jacob from the Nutrition Store?
Yeah.
Right?
Long, like 6 months ago, maybe? 7? A while back, anyway. Yeah, go ahead.
So I would say it's kind of like the first trip that we're going to make this summer.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing it's actually, so Stack News ran an article on it yesterday. They are doing their 2-year anniversary party.
Uh-huh.
And I was going to ask you, not to put you on the spot, but I was like, it's next month. If you want to go, it'd be a good time.
What is that? They're in what, South Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
That would be...
We're going to drive down.
Y'all are going to drive down. Let's see. If we drove, that would be...
Charlotte Airport's like an hour away, I think.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
There's 2 airports that are fairly close to them. There's There's Charlotte, and then there's a smaller one, I think, that's pretty close.
It's worth... I hadn't even thought about traveling anywhere. Sane and I pretty much said that we're not going to do any kind of vacations this year, just because of all the bullshit. No matter where you go, it's going to be something. So that's something to think about. I saw the news piece drop on Stack yesterday, so that might be worth considering. I mean, you'll be there. Justin will be there. I think remember from the article, Doug's going to be there from Core. So it might be worth meeting up with everybody and hanging out. That dude's overrated. I mean, total sellout. Total sellout. Whatever.
It's kind of funny, too, because I said I got to write Shane a check because it says the Nutrition Store celebratory event is going to feature, and it puts me first.
Oh, yeah.
And then Doug and Chris, and I was like, Shane, God, I love you. Checks in the mail, buddy, for sure.
There you go, man.
So yeah, but anyway, so this is sort of like the first, because everything's been basically a mess since the Arnold. This is sort of the first, kind of trip we're going to take for the summer and get to kind of see everybody. So we just booked the other day. We're going to stay there for at least 3 days.
Sweet.
Good people down there, man. Jacob is one of those people that's, he's a young kid. He's going to do some really cool things in the future. So I'm going to go down there and support him. Good dude.
Yeah, sharp. It seems like he had a really good work ethic, and what he's been able to do in the short time that he's been in business is impressive, especially in these uncertain times, and being able to kind of pivot and change tactics as they have to deal with the ever-changing landscape of what you can do and what you can't do as a small business owner.
True, and I don't think it seemed like down there they didn't, they were kind of late to get shut down, and then they were kind of early to sort of get back and going again.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure. But it'll be the first time I ever meet him, so first time I'll meet Chris, too.
Waldron?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you never... Oh, okay. I guess at the Olympia last year when you went, you didn't see him there? Or...
No, he was there, but we just never connected. He was with the cool,
his posse, the inspired cool crew.
Yeah, that I didn't. Never mind, I won't. we just, put it this way, we weren't in the same spot. Plus it was Lyle and I's anniversary, so we were kind of doing we weren't doing industry stuff. We saw a few people, but
Yeah,
we were kind of doing more on things.
gotcha. Well, since you brought up Chris and Inspired, one of the most recent news stories to drop across Stacked was they signed a deal with Landon from Intel and Aries. Do you have any on the thoughts of this merger and what would be going down possibly for their collaborative efforts?
No, I don't. I don't know anything about. I think I've spoken to Landon maybe once. I don't know him. I thought he was like a rapper. I thought he was doing like his own thing, like a rap career or something like that.
He does do a lot of stuff with music.
He's really good. Like his stuff is damn good.
Yeah.
But
And have you ever tried any of the Aries pre-workouts?
Yeah, like the old ones I know were like really like big stem bombs.
Yeah.
And I know that there was just something with, I think Glaxon was trying to, I don't want to say trying to, there was something going on there where they were together. And I know that like the newer Aries ones I know were really like pump heavy. They weren't like crazy stems
Yeah.
like the Glaxon ones are, but the pumps on those ones were crazy. The Aries Super, I think it's called. But yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if Intel is even like doing anything anymore. I think it seems like they're kind of, well, obviously their founder is also going somewhere else, probably.
Yeah, they're going to be merging together. Maybe release. It'll be a subline of Inspired or like sister companies or something. I'm not sure what. We're going to have to see some more details or get Chris and/or Landon on the show and maybe do a roundtable or something with them to figure out what in the hell's going on and what kind of goodies they have in store. Because both of them typically always release really hard-hitting, aggressive formulas, or at least they have in the past. So.
Yeah, it's just, I was just talking to somebody about this a little bit ago. I was like, it's just this musical chairs in the industry where people just bounce from brand to brand to brand, and which, whatever. I just can't keep up. I don't know. Because it's like, I'll talk to somebody at a brand, and then the next time I talk to them, they've worked for 3 other brands in between, and I'm like, okay.
I guess, how does that resonate with you as a consumer, since you know that people constantly bounce around?
I think it's super weird. I think it actually, and this will probably, there'll be some people that in this industry, friends of mine too, that this will probably won't like when I say this, but I think that the industry, it lacks professionalism on a scale that is really hard to describe unless you come from outside the industry and then come in. It is always has shocked me, the lack of professionalism, the lack of adults running these companies, that people can't keep meetings, they can't keep a schedule, they can't even just show up, and they're in charge of like other people. It really was kind of jarring for me at the beginning, like when I first started to talk to these people. There's obviously, that's not everyone, there's some that are just amazing at what they do.
Yeah.
But when you see people, and nothing against Landon or Chris, obviously, or like what's going on here, not to say this particular situation because stuff happens, but you see these people that just sort of, or when it trickles down to like, the sponsored athletes that just are with 4 different brands, and you see, an ambassador or how about a salesperson? We see salespeople go from brand to brand, and then their content's like, well, this is the best company, and this is the best company, and this is the best company. It's like, well, whatever one you're currently getting paid by. I think it just speaks overall in general to some frustrations I've always had about the industry to begin with, where it's just like, there's just such a weird, small mentality within this, where it's the same people doing the same things, just sort of bouncing around. And it's just, that's why, I don't know, we don't see much difference because, and this was also part of the conversation I was having with a company owner earlier today, one that I really do respect quite a bit, is I said, it's people, you're just teaching the same process over and over and over again. And then you take what you learn, and you go to this brand, and then it's the same. And then I run into it because I ask questions sometimes that aren't industry questions. Like from working with like companies outside the space.
Yeah.
When I see certain things run a certain way, I'll ask questions, and people are like, well, this is sort of the way it's always been done. And I'm just like, well, that's why we'll always stay in this little box that we're in, because it's just kind of weird, man. It's the same people just doing the same things. And, like I said, when it goes back to the sponsored athletes and ambassadors just bouncing around. I think it's pathetic when it comes to
Yeah.
those people in particular that are going to try to tell the consumers that this is the one they should be taking, and then they switch to another brand, and then that's the one they should be taking, and
Right.
then this company owner, nothing against this too, but then a company owner starts 7 different brands, and then all their marketing is that this is the one. This is kind of like
Yeah, I
it's
gotcha.
exhausting.
And I wouldn't fault anybody for, like, say you're a sales guy and you're like an entry level or regional sales guy for one brand, and then another brand comes along is willing to offer you either higher commission or more money to be their national sales rep. So you're using that as a platform because maybe the company you're with will not allow you to grow, or they've already got somebody in that capacity, and they're not going to retire or move on for several years. So I can understand doing that, but I think it would be the way that you present yourself, I guess, in the public eye, to where, if
Sure.
you want to go be, the behind the scenes sale guy that's doing all the wheeling and dealing at these expo shows, or, taking travels on the road and everything. But if your public image is that this company is the best, and then you become the national sales manager of another company, say this company's the best, blah, 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 blah. That's when I think you get the disingenuous vibe. Because, and it's the supplement industry reminds me a lot of like the consulting world, at least within like the New Orleans metro area, because the oil and gas consulting field is a very small, tight knit group, to where most of the engineers that had been in the industry like 5, 10, 15 plus years had been at every single consulting firm, because the way the oil and gas industry is, that when it's high, all the firms hire, and then when the price of oil falls out the bottom, everybody fires. So everybody plays merry-go-round and ring around the rosy to go to a different company.
Mhm.
So, and then eventually you start burning bridges at companies, or you get a vibe, because there was a guy at one of the firms I worked at that had a reputation of hooking up with like the HR girls, and so he became the HR girl guy, and so he got one of those bad things. And it's just, you got to be really careful, especially with close knit industries like that, or the supplement industry. You got to be very, very careful about how you conduct yourself, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it's not like a soapboxing where it's like, yeah, if people change jobs. I get it. It's
Yeah,
just like every other industry, but it's also one reason why I don't deal with salespeople from
yeah,
brands. I don't give a shit what they
right,
have to say. Like I'll deal with company owners or the people, the formulators or something like that. And
hmm,
that's just me. Like I said, nothing against anyone. I just think it's just kind of one of those things. It's just kind of exhausting to hear. You just kind of run into people and they're telling you the same spiel, but they're just with a different brand, and you're just like, this is why I set myself up in a position where I don't have to listen to it. I don't have to deal with it. I don't
yeah,
because it's just all so tiresome. But I get it. People are just trying to do. They're just trying to work and they're trying to do the best they can for their boss. So, and I
yeah,
respect that. It's just, I think where it trickles down to that annoys me the most is the sponsored athletes
hmm,
and the ambassadors, because people just will do anything to write for money. They'll say whatever for money, which
yeah,
okay, but it's like it's just always kind of funny to me when you see athletes bounce around from, or they'll be. I think it was Tim Natural Bunny called somebody out. They asked what's the best like pump product the other day on his question sticker, and he's like, well, since you're a sponsored athlete for X company, don't you think that should be, since you tell people that's the best one? And it was kind of funny because he's like, um, you work for a brand and you believe in a brand. You don't even use your brand's products. You're just telling everybody else to buy it. It's like
yeah,
that's the shit that just gets tiresome, I guess, in this industry. But what are you gonna do? That's
yeah.
just that's just me being grumpy and probably maybe a little bored with some of these conversations I've been having lately.
No, it's a valid point. And that's something you and I have harped on a lot. Is that neither of us, I guess, understand uh, the purpose of these sponsored athletes. I understand they have big followings on social media, but I mean, it just because XYZ athlete is wearing some kind of tennis shoe or some kind of short, or uses a resistance band, or takes some kind of pre or intra workout, isn't going to make me want to buy it. I'm trying to understand the mindset of somebody that is that easily influenced,
It's true,
and
and I get
I don't
it.
get it.
When we see things that I always just, and this is just me. I realize I'm in the minority, but if I see, you know, if I'm a kid and I see an athlete wearing certain clothes or shoes or something like that, and you're like, man, like I get that.
Yeah,
But if you're taking like certain ingredients to elicit some sort of health reaction in your body, I just think that's a little bit different. But
Yeah.
that's crazy talk, I know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess like going back to our childhood, Michael Jordan was one of the premier athletes, and the Air Jordan sneakers were everywhere. Never once in my childhood did I own a pair of Air Jordan sneakers. Not just because it didn't entice me to go want to buy those. Forget the fact that they were like $100 for a pair of shoes, and there was no way I was going to ask my parents to spend $100 on something that I would outgrow in 6 months anyway.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like I was the same way. I don't think I ever had any Air Jordans. Probably bought Gatorade because of some of the athletes, though. But I guess there wasn't much out there besides Gatorade at the time.
No, was that in 10K was the what I was used to drink for baseball games. I remember was 10K, which was kind of like the sweeter tasting knockoff of Gatorade.
Yeah, I don't remember that. But yeah, it's just the way you influence. But you and I are a little weird, Anyway, you're gonna say different.
Yeah.
Not get influenced by people too much. So, but I guess that's the end of mine. Going back, this has nothing to do with, let me just put that out there. Obviously, Chris, I love Chris. This has nothing to do with Landon, is his name, right? Going to Inspired has nothing to do with it. Like, this is just me taking a conversation I was just having with someone bitching about this and sort of, continuing that conversation. So,
well,
don't mind me. Don't mind me. Don't get offended, anybody.
The joke's on you because every time you say this isn't about Chris, I'm gonna edit it to where you're gonna specifically say this is about Chris and Landon at Inspired. We're gonna do some tweaking on the post production side to make you the scoundrel of the industry.
Look, man. You and I both know you're not taking any time to edit anything. Come on.
Hey, I clipped the beginning of the before we hop on. I clip that part and I do some hum reduction, some background noise cancellation, and I boost the volume because we've had a couple of comments say the audio is a bit low, so I'll increase the volume a few percentages. So there's a solid 10 minutes of editing that goes on.
Gotcha.
In addition to the uploading and all that and whatnot that's got to go on there.
I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying I think I'm safe.
Yeah. No, from what I've gathered, especially when I first started getting the podcast up and going, I was trying to figure out, all right, what are some of the ways are you supposed to do a bunch of show notes? Because if you do you listen to a lot of podcasts, just in general?
I don't. So I am such an asshole. Like if I'm not on it, I'm not going to listen to it.
Oh no, that's fine. That's just some people listen to music sometimes, like or just during the day. If I go on a walk or something, I'll put on like the Stronger by Science podcast is one that I would really listen to.
I would love to, but honestly, like my thing is I talk so much and I listen to a couple people's like Instagram stories, which is kind of like a podcast. Like I listen to Tim at Natural Body, a couple other people. That's kind of like a podcast. Usually, like when I go to like sit down, I'm usually texting or DMing with people. Like I just don't want to hear people talk like anymore. Like I just don't. I'm like, okay, I'm done. But that's just so I would. Nothing in this podcast. But
no, that's fine. It's the reason I was asking was that because you read different things about, do you really need to worry about SEO or all of that stuff? And so it's, a lot of the times, if you look at the show notes for some of these podcasts, it's like a freaking 3,000 word article that they got going on there describing everything. I'm thinking, nobody's going to sit there and actually read all of that. So anytime I do it, it's like minimum bullet points because why are people turning on the podcast? Is it to scroll through, and read the show notes for 10 minutes? No, it's to listen to the information. So I'll give them a few bullet points. That's why I don't waste time doing like the timestamps or any of that stuff because it's not worth my time to do that at all.
Hey man, I'm totally with you on that one.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's one thing too when it comes to doing podcasts is we have this conversation like, everybody wants to do a podcast.
Yeah.
You see Joe Rogan, make X amount of money and it's like, well,
yeah.
So everyone wants to do a podcast because everyone thinks that, God, I don't know. Is everything I'm about to say today like just going to come out like an asshole? But
that's one of those days. It's fun.
Everybody thinks like what they have to say is super fascinating and they get excited about it. But then there's work involved too,
right?
And then it becomes where you're trying to like come up with content and stuff all the time, and then next thing you know, you're not doing it anymore. And that's why you see so many people. They're like, hey, we're starting a podcast, and nobody cares. Like, nobody cares about your first couple podcasts unless you're already an established, person. And usually by the time, the time it would take to grow an audience, you've already given up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, it's so easy to launch podcasts anymore, which is cool. I think, you know, I
Yeah, I
would
mean, it's
like
the
to.
same thing with a YouTube channel or anything like that. The barrier to
Yeah,
entry, or even
right.
for the supplement industry, it's so low that everybody can do it. But I mean, the reason I started, I had no, I was under no false assumptions or anything like that when I started this. I thought I enjoy having interesting conversations about the supplement industry with people, and I want to bring a behind the scenes look. I'm not expecting to ever make any money. We're almost 2 years into doing the podcast. I think October will be 2 years. September will be 2 years for this since the first episode. I haven't made a cent off the podcast, but do I care? No, because I enjoy doing this each week. Every multiple days per week, and we're expanding the amount of episodes we're doing each week, and I just enjoy doing it.
And you haven't made a cent off this because I get paid from this all the time. Ben sends me a check every week.
Son of a bitch.
Got to get you cut in on that, man.
No, I'll just need to start doing more ads at the beginning of the show. Say buy a consultation package or something like that off my site, and it'll parlay into that. You use code supplement engineer 95.
Oh, there you go. Well, I think that's kind of it too. Is like when you and I talk about doing this, it's like, well, we were going to have this conversation anyway. It's sort of like just being on the phone
Yeah,
with a friend, and then people get to listen in on it. So I think,
correct.
if you keep things in perspective, but that kind of, you see it sort of it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like supplement companies or like reviewers. Like everyone, it's like, oh, I'm going to start a supplement company, and then you realize how much work it is, or you sort of lose interest in it, or you're like, okay, I'm going to start a review channel, and like I get tagged by these new reviewers all the time, and it's like, you try to be like, hey, that was us at one point. You don't really know how it works. You sort
Yeah,
of, but it's like, you don't realize it, but when you're just getting started, like the people, people are trying to get other people's attention and stuff like that. It's like
yeah,
they have stuff to do. They're not gonna like,
right.
oh, cool, another reviewer. Hey, I'm gonna take you under my wing, and I'm gonna take you right to the top. It's like that's what people expect,
Yeah, it's not gonna
and
happen.
not gonna happen. Absolutely not gonna happen.
No.
So that's why there's so many. It's kind of like supplement companies in general. We're like, okay, I know how to make a cool formula, and as soon as I drop this, man, everybody's just gonna come running. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be on top of the industry.
Yep.
And you ask them like, so did you think about distribution or anything? Well, no. I just figured I would start selling it like to my friends, and then whatever happens. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
good luck. Good luck with that. And
If you were
so
to start, put on your business owner cap for a second. If you were to start a supplement company, I know you've gotten asked this question a bunch. Do you ever have any aspirations of owning a supplement company or doing your own line? Let's say you do it. How would you go about? Would you take a multi-tiered approach, like getting it into brick and mortar retail and doing online stuff, or going to or would you just go strictly D2C?
so it's a good question. It's why when people ask me to about the line, I'm like, you don't want me to come out of the line because it's not going to be. There's so many retailers that, dude, I love in this industry,
Yeah.
but I just, man, I don't think I'm kind of cut out for that. Like, it's such a cutthroat fight. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
about connections and stuff like that, and it's like, yeah, we have people that I could call and be like, hey, I'm coming out of the line, but it's like, and we know how to. Pretty and I talk about it a lot. How to get a brand retail ready or
Yeah.
Amazon ready or something. I honestly, for me, 100% transparency, I would make an Amazon line.
Yeah.
Screw it. Screw inventory and shipping and dealing with the less people to deal with, the better when it comes to where I'm at. So
Right.
I just would not. I see what people go through, man, and I know what people go through. And we help people go through these pitfalls, and maybe it's because we have so much already on our plate that I just couldn't imagine adding all that
Yeah.
to it. But I mean, I get why people go retail, of course. I get why they go distribution, but I don't think people understand. Well, if we want to go distribution, they're going to take a certain cut of it. It's like, well, we talk about working backwards when you're making formulas.
Yeah.
Most people start off by making the formula first,
Mm-hmm.
and then try to fit distribution into it. When really, if you ask me, the way I would do it would be the opposite.
Yeah.
and you can still make a cool formula, but you have to know what you're left with after everyone takes their cut.
Right.
Even doing something like Amazon, I mean, they take a big cut, but at least it's. I think that's probably what I would do, man. Just because I don't want to deal with that, I would probably do something Amazon like. But
yeah,
even that is such Amazon like. We know a lot about Amazon and getting brands on Amazon. And that is a nightmare in and of itself. It's not like super difficult to do, but it's tricky to sort of do right.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work. So, and long story short, I am not starting a brand.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't either. I mean, if in saying that, I've had conversations like that because I've gotten asked about it, in the past, just like you have, and my answer is, I mean, I enjoy the formulation aspect. Do I want to be mired down in all the minutia of like actually running the business and dealing with the finances and all of that stuff? I mean, maybe, but if it would be, I mean, it would be something that if I did that, I think at that point I would stop consulting for every other company under the sun and stop writing for anybody else like I do now. Just because something like that would devote my full attention, because I would want to go meet and tour the contract manufacturing facility. I would want to, be reviewing all the material test reports and all of those kind of things. I just there aren't enough hours in the day for me to want to put a foot in both worlds. I would either have to have enough savings or hit the lottery or get some kind of windfall of money just to give me time to just back away from the regular work that I'm doing.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing is, yeah, totally valid, because like I said, I just don't really think that the formula makes all that much of a difference.
Yeah.
When it comes to selling a product or running a business. And, I was actually having a conversation with a good friend of mine that I respect highly. He's a smaller brand owner, and we were talking about testing and how expensive it is, and how it's like, yeah, I can say, hey, if I was starting a brand, I would want to know, am I getting from the manufacturer what I think I'm getting?
Right.
Realizing that to find out, it might cost me a couple $1,000s.
Right.
To run a full panel third-party test on my product.
Yep.
But that's what I would have to do. So now, where does that money come from? Do I tack that on to the price of the product?
Yeah.
Do I remove ingredients from the formula, or do I just eat it? And it's like all those options suck.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
But it's part of the process. It's like one of those, hidden, and that's why nobody does it. Or not many people do it, I should say. It's just
yeah.
It's not, because people aren't really asking to do it. So why accrue that cost or incur the cost of that if no one's asking for it, other than for your own peace of mind, which I think I would do. I would hope I would do, but
yeah,
it would suck.
It certainly would. Since you may know a little bit more about the Amazon scene than I do, how does that work as far as getting the product to them? So say, all right, you're a brand owner. You want to sell almost exclusively on Amazon, maybe your own site too. You get your contract manufacturer to run the product, make the product, and so you get your 288,000 units, whatever it is. Do you ship that to like a central shipping hub for Amazon, or do you have to ship it from your house? How does that work?
It's actually kind of interesting, and this is another reason why I think Amazon is. You can also see how Amazon, when it comes to shipping, USPS and UPS and stuff.
Yep.
Amazon, they're kind of doing some weird things.
Right.
I don't want to get our podcast kicked off the air, but they're doing some antitrust kind of things when it comes to shipping. And now I think that in the future they're gonna have their own kind of thing. So, but if you were to run, like, you can have a manufacturer send. And that's what was kind of throwing a lot of people off during the coronavirus thing, is because you could only ship so much to Amazon.
Yeah.
At a time, it'd be smaller quantities unless you were sort of like so it's kind of really throwing off a lot of brands. But you can have the manufacturer send them right to Amazon. But the cool thing about Amazon is there's ways where, say you have a Shopify site, or you have your own website, and then you run on Amazon too. If someone were to buy from your site and you don't have any inventory left because it's at Amazon, Amazon can fulfill that for you also.
Okay.
So it's not like you don't have to play like a shell game when it comes to shipping.
Yeah.
what Amazon's kind of doing with shipping is you can kind of see that they're, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to say it because I feel like um, I'll probably
The
put
overlords will
myself
hear
on some
it.
kind of list. Yeah, I'll put myself on some kind of list, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. When it comes to shipping, the future of shipping is going to be interesting, especially as expensive as it's getting. And
Hmm.
a lot of these brands are shipping protein powders and stuff like that gets
Yeah.
really expensive when it comes to weights, and the retailers are getting hit hard with shipping. And Amazon's kind of, they're sort of doing some things that kind of take over, I think, when it comes to that, because I think shipping is going to, it's obviously not slowing down anytime soon. So
Not for the
we'll
foreseeable
see.
future, no.
We'll see how that whole thing plays out, because they worked out deals,
Yeah.
and, well, never mind.
We'll leave it there. People can go
We'll see.
do an internet search if they want to start to go down the wormhole and see what else is possibly happening.
Think about it, like when you have, I mean, the problem with doing the Amazon brand is you don't have any, it's not your brand anymore. Basically,
Right.
It's Amazon stuff, it's Amazon customers. That's kind of what I was trying to say. Is like,
Yeah.
the big thing about, like, in the sports nutrition industry is, look at somewhere like Redcon, where what they want to do is they want to acquire as much customer data as possible.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to talk about this too? You can see where Redcon, they have multiple businesses, and you know what? Never mind. I can't say that because that'll get me in trouble. So, needless to say, customer data acquisition is huge. We know that.
Yep.
If you have an Amazon brand, you don't get that customer data because it's Amazon's customer. So you're giving up a lot of that data, but Amazon's sort of doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
Right.
So you kind of take it or leave it kind of thing. But when you see, the money that Amazon brands make as opposed to what sports nutrition brands make,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's because we've worked so many hours unpaid that I'm just not really that interested in doing it anymore. But I would have to just go the Amazon route.
Yeah, I think the one thing that irks me, I guess, about Amazon and certain other vendors is that they can just kind of arbitrarily ban ingredients without having any just cause. Because I don't think brands can use Urea Durensis on there. Can they use Alpha-Yohimbine? I think you can. I think you can still use Rowalston on there.
Yeah, I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think Urea Durensis is banned yet. But I think, it doesn't necessarily. Hortonine is definitely, Canna is banned on Amazon.
Yeah.
Which is weird because there is some, you can find some Canna on Amazon, but because they just have bots that scan your listings,
right.
And then if something pops up, because who was it, a brand owner we know, theirs got pulled because they had CDP choline in it, and it got kicked out, and they said, oh, we thought it was CBD. And so their listing got pulled, and then you get your listing pulled off Amazon, like you said, and asking questions. And then you got, you get an Amazon attorney, or hopefully you have a contact over there.
Right.
But it might be days before you get your listing back up, and you get hammered, if you're not on there. So yeah, Amazon's a dangerous game because so much is out of your hands, but also that's part of the good thing is if you get things established, it's sort of, I don't want to say hands off, but
right.
I just, man, yeah, to start a brand.
Yeah, and I guess we could also move this towards, I guess, the way that you've got the Supplement Snoop Insider Group. It's through the Facebook thing, but at a moment's notice, if somebody leaves a comment in the group that triggers some word on some bot that Facebook recognizes, they'll cut the group immediately, and then that kind of loses that. So that's why I'm always wondering, why not move everything, I guess, to your own site and have full autonomy over what's going on. So if you were a brand owner, just sell your products only through your site and say, screw it to Amazon. Yeah, you might be taking some, and you're going to be losing a lot until you build up a substantial enough following. Or I guess you could eventually, start as Amazon, but then migrate over to your own site once you've acquired enough customers and whatnot. But with somebody else having the power, or at a moment's notice they could just do that. That leaves me feeling very unsettled.
Yeah, and it's kind of, there's just so many headaches to running your own. It's right, and that's why we have these conversations with people, right off the bat. We want to know, like, if you ask someone, where do you want to be? I want my products everywhere. They want to be in retail, they want to have their own website, and they want to be on Amazon. It's like, well, it's very different strategies to get you there to do it successfully. And that's what we talk to people a lot about is like, are you okay? Like, if we had a conversation with you and you were starting a brand, you wouldn't be okay with giving up that. So we'd be like, okay, then we'll just worry about that another time. Let's focus on the website. So that's what we're trying to match up, like the personality of what makes a brand owner comfortable. And then you sort of can, because some people, I mean, I totally get it. Like you're sort of, we've had our clients where their entire websites are shut down.
Yeah.
And with no explanation, that's scary as shit.
Yep.
Your entire livelihood gets shut down by somebody else with no explanation.
Yeah.
But that's the cost of doing business online. That's, if you're going to have, a billion customers at your disposal on Amazon, there's going to be some give and take, I guess. So it's like, what can you stomach? What are you okay with? What sounds good to you? But there's always an option for everyone. You can be like Ben Morphogen and just do his own website for years, or you can be people that mix and match, or you can be straight to Amazon. You can be, just retail. So it's cool that there's multiple options to sort of fit in what your formula is, who your target customer is, what your personality is like.
Right.
You can find a good fit, I guess, is the point.
Yeah, agreed. You do, and we've touched on this, and I think I touched on this a little bit last week, but I'm always curious to get an insider view on what kind of questions you're getting from the supplement consumer. So, you've got the sticker up that says, and you answer questions every day on your stories. So what are some of the most, I guess, common questions you've gotten over the past week? And I guess some of the wild ball questions that you didn't think you would get.
I don't know if I get like a really big mix of questions. I get like some personal questions. Somebody asked me the other day, like, what do I do for a full-time job?
Yeah.
And so I was actually talking to Michael from Glaxon about this just earlier today, sort of venting some frustrations because there's people out there, especially younger people. You look at the internet, you look at things, you sort of think it's one way, and it's really hard to explain to someone. If someone watches my stories every day and they're like, "Oh, that's what he does," it's like, that's like 1 hour out of my 16, 17-hour workday that I do, and to try to explain that to people is like, there's a lot under the surface with all these people that you think you make these judgments about people that do things online. It's like there's a lot going on out there, especially with people. There's a lot of opportunities, online, and people don't talk about it. Like, I'm not going to tell people like what we do. Like, what are you fucking kidding me? It's like it's none of your business, first of all. But it's like there's a lot out there. So I got like a couple of those, but I usually get like I get such a mixed bag of questions. Not a lot of. Every now and then I'll get new people, because I get new people follow every day, so they'll ask me like a best question or something like that. But it depends. Like if there's a new product that comes out, like a lot of the ones I've been getting lately have involved berberine because Alpha Line came out with their Glucoadvantage product. So whenever like Beba dominated my question box for a while, once Might Burn, Alpha Line, Superhuman, Burn and stuff came out. So if there's like a new product, and I can always tell too because a lot of people follow the same group of us, and there's companies that do news. I don't do news, so they'll see a news clip and then they'll come to me and ask me, like, what do you think about this? Like, rather than just maybe stopping and thinking and trying to formulate your own opinion, you just they want me to tell them what they're looking at, kind of thing, which is hard for the course. But I get such a huge mix. I wouldn't say there's any like patterns to what I really never know what I'm going to wake up to. It's really kind of fascinating.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I've gotten, since you brought up Baiba or Beba, however you want to say it, and the Mitoburn stuff, I've gotten a couple of questions about that ingredient and the Glucoadvantage. And I'm weary of being an early adopter on some of those ingredients because there's no data in humans in either of them really. It's all rat studies and cell cultures, and I'm very skeptical, especially when I've seen the price of Glucovantage, what it is. I mean, one brand owner said it was adding $4 to the cost of the SKU, just like the cost of goods, and I just thought, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, is this stuff like gonna magically put muscle on my body or something? It's not worth that ingredient. That's one that untested. I don't think it's worth it.
Right, and that kind of comes down to going all the way back to the last conversation we were having, where people are like, "Oh, I want to take these hot ingredients and throw it into a formula. I'm going to make this killer." And then you get down to it, you're like, "Well, shit, no, I can't afford to sell it to a retailer because they won't buy it. Now what? Now I'm sitting here stuck with all this inventory that I can't do anything with." So it's like, well, that's why that working backwards, because exactly what you're saying. So is it advantageous, or does it make sense to use Glucovantage instead of regular berberine, depending on the price?
Yeah.
And when you do that, are you going to have to then educate the consumer on why they should be buying that one?
Right.
Or is it just because whoever owns the trademark on it tells you that it's better? But does that matter? So that's what I think was smart about what Alphaline did. Rather than Alphaline putting it into a big overall, they're like, well, let's test to see if people are willing to buy this standalone.
Yeah.
Which helps people understand it anyway. So I think that was a good move on their part, is just to do a standalone one. But people are so confused about how to use it, what to do with it. And it's like, well, just, it's not that hard, to go and search about berberine and talk to people about berberine. So that's why I tell people a lot of times the trademark throws people off, the trademark name. And then you'll see like dihydroberberine. It's like, well, really, let's talk about berberine.
Yep.
And then we can sort of say this perhaps could be more bioavailable. It doesn't mean more. And then this could, maybe we can make these leaps, stuff like that. So I guess that was a cool thing about Beba, is Beba was a little different. Although, it's an ingredient we know a little bit about. There's some stuff out there about it. So
yeah.
It's kind of like, there's always a lot of window dressing when it comes to some of this stuff. But if you really drill down to it and get it, that's what I always tell people. They're like, how do I start learning about supplements? I said a lot of times supplements, what you see on the label is sort of like a complex math problem where people like kind of get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I was like, just get it to a manageable point where you start to break it down a little bit. And, take Glucovantage, get it to berberine, and then you can work with berberine.
Yeah.
And then worry about the other stuff. Or if you see a massive formula, it's like, well, just start to pull it apart and, like I said, make it more manageable where you can make some kind of sense rather than just like, having like sticker shock or like I said, it's like a big complex math problem. The first thing you kind of do is rearrange numbers, simplify it, stuff like that. What do I need? What don't I need?
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well put. Let's move on to some lighter stuff. We've kind of gotten dark, deep, and heavy with the stuff. So what goodies have crossed your threshold this week?
I don't know. Oh, I did get you did a review on Robbie's Enigma.
Yeah. Right? Delicious. Did you ever try have you tried the new one, and did you ever try any of the old one?
Yeah. So I had the pineapple of the old one, and I tried the pineapple new one last night. But he was nice enough to send me the peanut butter cookie protein that I just
love. It's so good.
Love. So good. I go through that so fast. I would say that and Core's new proteins are the ones that I've been going through like water. When you have like 30 different proteins, it's kind of like pre-workouts, and I'm just like lock in on one of those two, and I just use them up. But his the peanut butter cookie protein is just so damn good.
Yeah, I hope they never change it. Don't ever tweak it. Just leave it alone, Robbie. If you're listening to this, don't ever change that peanut butter cookie protein.
Robbie, don't ever change, buddy.
Don't change.
So there was some things. So Enigma, it's got a big price tag on it. I love Robbie. I like everything he does. But there were some things about this one, because it's like it's like 14.5 grams. Or
yeah, of EAAs. 10 grams of that is BCAAs.
So these massive but I didn't really take a good look at. So it's lysine, threonine are the higher
Hmm.
EAA, well, the non-BCAAs. So tryptophan's at the bottom, methionine, phenylalanine. So it's just, like I said, I didn't really take a good look at the label yet. So you got glutamine and betaine. I don't know. It kind of comes down to the EAA discussion is like, is more better, kind of thing.
Yeah. Or I guess
Need more.
I was going for what do you think of the flavoring compared from V1 to V2?
I don't know that I guess maybe it's been a while since I had the first one. I think they both tasted like good pineapple. I guess. I think it was good.
Awesome. Yeah,
What about you?
I found it lighter tasting, like it's more of like a fresh pineapple juice, whereas the other one is almost like a candy kind of pineapple flavor. Um,
So I agree. I wasn't sure last night because I only took it once, and
mhm.
you have to sort of get the ratio of water down.
Yeah,
Pat. That's what I noticed. I thought maybe I used too much water. Not that it was bad, but I was like, it's lighter. It's not as
yeah,
maybe I don't want to say artificial because that makes the first one sound bad.
right.
But first one was awesome, and I
Yeah,
think this one it was really good too, but a little bit different to me. It was lighter.
yeah. Yeah, and it's they. I think the formula in general, it's kind of tweaked. It's more of positioning itself. I think is more of like an amino acid slash hydration formula, whereas the first formula was like a post workout kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then going through those tweaks. What else has hit your doorstep within the past week, or what pre workout have you been using?
Oh, we talked because we talked about Ghost Gamer last week
Yeah.
because I really have been using that one a lot. I really like Ghost Gamer.
Hmm.
What pre-workouts have I? Not much because I've been using Immortal a lot. Um,
Yeah, from
and
Rage.
we've already talked. Yeah, we already talked about that one.
Yeah.
Think. I ordered some. Oh, we'll get the Morphogen thing out of the way. I used for the first time today. I won't tell you what I stacked it with. Okay. Actually, let's have this conversation because this will benefit everyone.
Okay.
You know how we talk about people are like, okay, about vasoconstriction versus vasodilation.
Yeah.
What if I take a vasoconstricted pre and a vasorelaxing pump? Like, what sort of happens?
Yeah.
So I won't fully elaborate what pre-workout I took today with Morphogen Ben's new Morphopump.
Uh huh.
Took all 6 capsules of Morphopump today. And I'm like, and I was actually talking to Ben about this too. I said, so this is the pre I want to stack it with. And you'll know the pre that I stacked it with. Very vasoconstrictive. I just probably shouldn't talk about it. So, and I said, let's see who wins.
Yeah.
Morphopump won. The pumps were fucking insane. But it was interesting because I do get that question every now and then is what is happening when you're taking something that's vasoconstrictor and
Yeah.
vasorelaxing at the same time? And I said, I just personally, we can talk about mechanisms and all the stuff that happens on paper, but what I notice in the gym is it will take teeth out of the stems for sure for me, just what I've noticed. But I get the vasorelaxation eventually if the pump is good enough anyway. Like I get, the pump seems to win out every time, and I think that's just part of. You can use something vasoconstrictive and get a good pump. I'm not saying you can't, but it seems to me like that overrides it for me, and it definitely. Like I said, I pitted 2 sort of contradictory products against each other today, slightly, and Morphopump was dominant in victory, but the energy was insanely good too. So Morphopump is a winner. That's one that people are, because he made it more like an overall blood flow health product rather than a performance pump.
Yeah.
So I had been taking it 2 caps split up throughout the days. Today I took all 6.
Yeah.
Before my workout. The pumps were absurd.
Yeah, I think the whole vasoconstrictive thing with pre-workouts has been massively overblown because people used to say for years, even before that, higher doses of caffeine are being vasoconstrictive. But if you go and look at the data, if you're a habitual caffeine user, which most people who use pre-workouts are, you'll see that the hypertensivity of caffeine potentially using, or the vasoconstrictive of it is massively overblown. And I mean, your body is going to do what it needs to do. If you've got a muscle that's under tension and constantly contracting and relaxing, it's going to shunt blood to that working muscle to keep it going, regardless of if you took caffeine or not, plus some of the other stims.
Yeah, it's like more of the vasoconstrictiveness it's sort of short-lived.
Yeah.
Because then once you sort of get going, it's like, yeah, it just sort of happens. It's just like,
Yeah,
I totally agree with you.
Sometimes we maybe give supplements more credit than they deserve, or we have this illusion or this mindset that they are going to be able to counteract human physiology to such a meaningful degree that we wouldn't be able to function, or it's going to supersede our own physiology, which has survived centuries and centuries and centuries of evolution.
Sure. So I was using that, and I've been using the new Like a Pro Burn Away, the one he added the gram of acetylcarnitine to an already ridiculous freaking formula. So that one's been nice.
Yeah.
He's really onto something with that product. That is, have you seen the formula about that one?
For the pump and burn?
It's called Like a Pro Burn Away.
Burn Away. Okay.
So the first one, dude, it's just the most ridiculously sweaty. You get like you drool, like it's absurd. So this was the old one, and the old one was super popular, and then he changed it, and the only difference he did was he added a gram of acetylcarnitine to it. So, which I thought was cool because he already took a product that was plenty, dude. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And he just added like a full, big dose of acetylcarnitine rather than retooling it and maybe taking some stuff out. He just added more. So I thought that was pretty cool. But
yeah, it's definitely it's gonna light you up from like a thermogenic standpoint, because you got the Pro GBB, you got Capsomax, you got Paradoxine. Rowalskine to a certain degree also gives a heated sensation.
It is stronger than you can imagine, too. I'm telling you, it's one of those products that you know what to expect, and then when it happens, you're just like, holy shit. So I recommend trying it out sometime.
Yeah, and it's moderately stemmed. It's got a lot of thermo components in it, but it's moderately stemmed. It's only got 100 milligrams of caffeine in it. I mean, it's got the dynamine and teacrine, which is going to give it some extra legs or teeth. But yeah, it's interesting. It's got a ton of. Okay.
I was gonna say I don't like. I just don't like using high stem fat burners. It's just not because I like the high stem performance pre workouts.
Yeah.
So for me to fit something else in like this is perfect. So that's one that.
Yeah. It's a hefty price tag though. I mean, that's 30 servings, so it's $2.50 a serving, $2.30 a serving.
Well, I see like I always buy it from retailers. It's $60 for 30 servings.
Okay, so yeah, $2 from their retail, so it's cheaper there than through their website. Because on the Like a Pro website, it's $70.
Well, yeah, and the way that goes with when it comes to like brands, their sites, it's like the price that they list is like for entertainment purposes only, because then there's athlete codes and sales and that are constantly going on, so you have to like see how that goes. But because there's a lot of products that we get, you and I think that there's been a handful, I would say recently, where I just keep going back to them. Mm-hmm. And I was mentioning that with Ghost Gamer. Ghost Gamer is I'm impressed with Ghost Gamer. It's a good one. This one, Nick's Immortal Rages Immortal. That's a pre-workout that I find myself, if I go, what am I, because it's like. Yeah. Sometimes I use a pre-workout based on just how I'm feeling, mood. But that thing like covers all bases for me. It's high stim, but it doesn't come across as high stim for me. It's something I feel like I can use pretty much every day, and pumps on it really good. And other than that, I don't know. There's been a lot of stuff over the last couple of weeks. Tons of stuff.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, any big plans for Father's Day this weekend for you?
Yeah, I'm going to go visit a good friend of mine. We're going to drink some bourbon. We got some hangover supplements to test out. So I'm sure I'll hit you up. I'll let you know what we're drinking, and should be a good time.
Outstanding, man. Well, thank you as always for your time, sir. I greatly appreciate it, and enjoy the bourbon infused frenzy this weekend.
There you go. All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, bye.